Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old to history to anecdotes to really wherever our whims take us. Future State. I posted a poll asking what you all thought of it, and my choices were woo, meh, boo, it varies, and what's Future State? What's Future State won by quite the margin? I'm trying to figure out if that's because it's from a what is it perspective or a what's happening capacity. Either way, I got a chuckle out of that. There are many things going on in Future State, which touts itself in its inner text blurbs as a glimpse into the unwritten worlds of tomorrow. While some seemingly do their own thing, others are interconnected, united under one common plot umbrella. In Gotham, that means the Magistrate, an organization that has run rampant. This is following a no vigilante policy being enacted, which has become also a no mask policy. Their powers have grown to near draconian levels, and our Harley story is slotted into that world. That's the groundwork you need, and we're gonna dive in. I'm actually gonna try to keep this one at an overview level. Wish me luck, it may actually happen. We may be casual on Casually Comics. Stranger things have happened. So get ready, Harley incoming. But before we get started, I'm Sasha, and if you're enjoying this content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, join us in this comic book journey, and if you're feeling so inclined, hit that join button. It helps us produce more content, and you get access to some behind the scenes, badges, emojis, and the like. Our writer for this one is Stephanie Phillips. Our art, Simone DeMio. Colors by Tamara Bonvillain. Our cover by Derek Chu is giving me some Blade Runner vibes. Definitely some cyberpunk feel going on. Harley Quinn, her name in neon. It's a good choice for continuing that vibe. This cover definitely conveys the feeling it wants to. That kind of it's the future, it's cool, everything's lit in neon, we only listen to dubstep, all parties are raves. Sorry, deep house and dubstep, techno, anything with an electronic kind of buzz going on. Synthesizers. Our security details are fusions of Tron and Jinro. I like that there's an image of her in the back here, probably a wanted image, and in the foreground she's essentially just modified her hair. Haha, I have pastel goth hair now. They'll never find me. The aesthetics on this cover are strong for me. If you're into this subgenre, it'll probably grab you. Also, if you're a fan of Harley and then those two things marrying together. If you're not, then it may come across as pretty meh, because it's your pretty standard pinup action shot. Harley Quinn. Or perhaps you prefer Dr. Harleen Quinzel. How about the Cupid of crime? The maiden of mischief? Daddy's little monster. No escape for me from the word daddy. I've just started saying it now, like in our Future State Flash video when it's not even there. We see Harley engaged with the Magistrate's security forces as the narration box goes on. This style of the narration overlaying events, that moving the plot forward as it establishes tone, or detailing future plans that play out beneath it. That's how we're gonna play this one throughout the entire thing. Known associates, Joker, obviously, relationship status. Shall we say, complicated. Without the nicknames or the acid-stained skin, beyond the childish hammer and asinine jokes, when your boyfriend isn't around to protect you. What I'm dying to know is, who is Harley Quinn? That whole sequence was very cinematic. That was highly storyboardy. Imagine that whole sequence playing out in an animated series or TV show. It was made for that. So Harley has been captured and she's being mockingly psychoanalyzed by former colleague, compatriot, friend, depends what canon you're working with. Dr. Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow. Formerly known as the Scarecrow in this universe, but we'll see how long that formerly lasts for. He has fully embraced the Magistrate, but the way he's talking about it makes it sound like really he's using the Magistrate as a way to play out his own desires and interests, a new way to spread fear. I don't need a mask to make Gotham a better place, and you don't need to hide anymore. So tell me, Harley, let me in. What is it that frightens you? I'm scared this monologue will never end. Jonathan, the theme is cyberpunk, not steampunk. Adjust your tie, please. So our premise is basically a psychiatrist fight. Crane is enlisting Harley's skills because there are certain individuals who have eluded his capture. One notable one that is to be revealed at the end, but there's imagery and some text, people talking throughout to let you know who it is. It's Black Mask. He's trying to get Harley to help him as his cred has started to slip because he hasn't been able to capture these people. He's of course trying to frame it as a favor to her. She'll get perks and things. It's all your standard manipulation package. You know, they give you a pamphlet when you become a top-tier lackey. So the first person she has to try to apprehend, Professor Pig. One of Professor Pig's creators, Grant Morrison, stated that Pig was intended to be one of the weirdest characters in the Batman universe. I don't know what it says about me that I don't see that at all. Pig's thing is he wears a pig mask and kidnaps individuals, mutilating them, trying to turn them into his versions of perfection. Automatons he calls Dollatrons, and he'll make some animal-human hybrids on occasion. I would expect nothing less from a man wearing a pig mask whose name is an abbreviation for Pygmalion, or rather a play on it. In our Future State story, he's been been killing those sent to capture him, sending them back, mutilated or perfected. Crane can't figure it out, but Harley quickly devises a plan. Make some fake Dollatrons, but make them look subpar, and then put Pig's name on them and blast it out there on the news sources. Since his thing is perfection, he won't be able to stand being associated with that, as he'll view it as a besmirching of his work. It'll activate his underlying inferiority complex, and bam, he'll be triggered enough to emerge. It works. So what's a girl gotta do to get a little fresh air, With one takedown, Harley gets a little bit more free reign, and Crane assigns her next target, Firefly. Woo, shout out for people remembering Firefly exists. There is an interesting exchange between a couple of members of the security force though, which shows that they don't have much respect for Crane or really supervillains or heroes in general, which makes a lot of sense in the world being set up here, where those things are kind of vestiges of a bygone era and seen as dangerous and outmoded, though I may be inferring that. But the seeds are there for me to infer from. And of course she succeeds once more. So Crane decides that it's time for the entree, as he puts it. And we're introduced to the Black Mask gang. Via Black Mask, Roman Sion is killing a gang member who is using the mask for a holdup, as he says that's not what the mask is for, it means more than that.
That mask is power. We are not clowns.
Are we trying to make Harley and Black Mask having beef a thing because of Birds of Prey? The DCEU version, I mean? AKA the fantabulous emancipation of Harley Quinn? AKA the movie that should have just been called Harley Quinn? If so, that's probably the most innocuous thing that could bleed back. I don't hate that movie. To quote this comic, relationship status, complicated. You've seen that I have the t-shirt. I also have a pair of golden pants, and they're fabulous.
Don't ever forget why we wear the mask.
Issue 1 done. Okay. Mixed bag. This comic presents some interesting ideas. I cracked my finger, that was how interesting it was. But it doesn't execute them all in the most thrilling way. The idea of essentially a mental showdown between Crane and Harley as they try to manipulate each other is an interesting one, and a relatively unique use for both characters, as it's not how either tend to be typically presented. But it reads as something that would play out better in another medium, either an animated series or a TV show. Just the way it's laid out, the storyboarding, the amount of dialogue, the whole thing. There's a reliance on a snappy back and forth, and just the paneling, it's just a feeling that I got throughout as I read it. It's not bad, but my mind kept flashing to how it would look in other mediums. This fell into the average category for me, largely because it didn't leave me with a deep yearning to read the next issue. I was more interested in threads and questions it doesn't fully pull on or ask. For example, Harley using her mania and seemingly random personality quirks as a shield. If she's this perceptive and good at reading people and manipulative, what does it say for her relationship with the Joker and her agency within it, as well as what level of enjoyment she got out of participating in some of the more sadistic crimes? It would imply a very different Harley than a purely, oh woe is me, he tricked me and I fell for love. It slots more into the him allowing her to manifest parts of herself she couldn't or shouldn't have otherwise. Kind of a Joker as a means to crime. Interesting, but I'm not sure if intentional, or just me having fun reading between the lines, extrapolating. Nuanced Harley is best Harley. Also, speaking of people extrapolating, just letting you know there is a fan theory out there that this isn't Harley at all but Punchline. Get involved, get on some theory trains with me. I'm not on that train, but if you should want to board that one, there it is. These thoughts and more captivated me more than what I was supposed to be pondering. Like, what is Black Mask doing? What is the meaning of his mask in this context? What's Crane's master plan? Is he the Magistrate? Is he still the Scarecrow behind the scenes? I don't know. Just didn't hook me. It has potential though, and if it does engage you in any of those questions, I can see it being a very enjoyable read. For me, this one comes down to follow through. Have to see where it goes. What did hook me though was the art. It was fascinating. Sometimes off model, but very evocative in the use of light and color. I found it to be quite an interesting experience. Enjoyable interesting. This comic has lens flares. There are lens flares in the comic. No one tell JJ. We'll get a continuation of that Spider-Man comic. But again, these lens flares and how everything's laid out lend into that aforementioned medium changing feeling. Sometimes art just hits you, and I really liked this. It does veer into stylized territory though, and artistic taste is subjective, so I can simultaneously see the art being a turnoff for some. But all of these are just my musings, and I want to hear what you think. What did you think of Future State Harley Quinn? You here for the mind games? You like the art? Do you think it's Punchline, like Harley's new Pastel do? Enjoying Future State in general? Still confused as to what it is? Just answer everything, whatever you feel like saying, down below. And while you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Before any of you ask, the shirt's supposed to be this way. It's fashion. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to spend it discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.